it is, at the moment, I think, a heartless, brainless, soulless series of government decisions that are being taken. And, Daisy, you would have seen a lot of the stuff that's been here in Queensland in the last 24 hours. But all around Australia, people are waking up to the idea that a political leader who was apparently incredibly popular a few weeks ago now is playing with people's lives, making people dress up in personal protection equipment on Are You OK Day. I mean, everything about this is absolutely wrong, Daisy.
Look, I am a relatively new resident to the great state of Queensland, and at the moment I am a little bit ashamed that we have Annastacia Palaszczuk as our Premier. I mean, this is such a monumentally difficult time for people at the best of times, but certainly what we've seen over the last few days with poor Sarah, the 26-year-old nurse, for instance, who'd been in the ACT, and yet where they've had no cases of community transmission for something like 60 days. Dumped into hotel quarantine and not allowed to attend her father's funeral after waiting ages for it to get an exemption to come into Queensland in the first place to say goodbye to him. I mean, we all saw those dreadful images of her waiting with police after being allowed to view her father's body but not allowed to. So I'm quite emotional about it because I'm furious. We've seen the terrible case of Mr Keynes, who might have to choose which of his 4 young children actually gets to come into Queensland to say goodbye to him as he's dying of cancer. He's been told he might not actually survive until Christmas. This is just insane. These border policies are ridiculous. If you look at the COVID numbers, there seems to be only slightly less community transmission as there is in New South Wales, for goodness sake. There is no excuse for the Palaszczuk government to keep these border restrictions in. If you look at New South Wales, for instance, they are functioning extremely well at the moment with aggressive and efficient contact tracing, no compulsory mask order, minimal border restrictions, really solid COVID-safe plans for businesses, and really positive public rhetoric that's not a campaign of fear. They are a shining example for states like Queensland, which are actually better facilitated to operate in that capacity because of less population, less densely populated, and also we're not bearing the brunt of international travel like New South Wales is. It is a sad day to be a Queenslander, and this has to be a huge wake-up call for Annastacia Palaszczuk and her government, because it has just gone to the level of just sheer cruelty.
Well, I think cruelty is a good word, and bravo to those who watched Paul Murray live last night, and over $200,000 contributed in a moment that Paul, because Paul does get passionate about these sorts of causes to try and finance the cost imposed by government for compulsory quarantining of those kids. I mean, Bronwyn, this is cruelty. It is an unnecessary bureaucratic interference in the lives of law-abiding people. There's got to be a simpler way, and governments are going to have to change very quickly, pivot and find that simpler way fast, because I think a lot of people are going to go down politically over this.
Well, Gary, the reason this behaviour is so shocking is because we're really seeing it for what it is. And it's anti-family. And the point is that a socialist person doesn't want the family to be the first place of allegiance for the children. They want the allegiance to be to the state. They want to be able to teach the sort of things that they want for a socialist world. We want to keep the family alive. We want to show that the children can have self-reliance, that they can have pride and dignity. They're the sorts of things these children want to have with their father when they want to go and visit.
Yeah.
But this is definitely an anti-family policy. But we have to show people, particularly our young, give them an opportunity that they can really have a wonderful world. And that's why finding that money to help that family last night was so terrific, as you just pointed out, Gary. But, you know, you and I are united in action, and we want to hear what the people are saying. We see these polls come out, but the people out there, tell us what you think. Tell us if you agree with the sorts of things that are being done in the name of the virus. Tell us that we want action, that we can get back to a society where the individual is valued, not the socialist ideal that we are seeing imposed upon us. We need that response. Yeah. We need that to come and to tell us that we're on the right track. We can save this country, Gary. We can. So let's Let's get the reaction. Come on, people, let us know.